So I finally decided I wanted to build a new gaming PC and upgrade from playing on the Xbox Series X and officially joining the Master Race. What you see here is every component I wanted and needed for this build. Mind you, I've never attempted to build a PC in my life, and for everything, the total price of it all was just under 3,000 Australian dollars. First up was unboxing the motherboard itself. Now I went with a ROG B560A gaming Wi-Fi motherboard, and it is beautiful to look at, but I was scared picking it up and unboxing it. I was scared it was going to break. I'd never held a motherboard in my life, but I ballsed up and I did it. Next up after unboxing the motherboard is, of course, installing the CPU into the motherboard, and I went with an Intel i7 11700K 11th gen Intel, and I was very nervous because I know if you put it in the wrong way or too rough or whatever, the pins can bend and cause damage, and then that's an expensive and difficult fix. So I was nervous as hell, but I managed to do it. I did it. Just look at this first time install. Very clean, very happy. Next up is installing the RAM. I went with a G-Skill Trident Z Neo 32GB RGB kit, which along with everything but the GPU itself, I got from Computer Alliance, a store that is local to me up in Browns Plains. So if you need anything, link to their website down below. Next on my to-do list was unboxing the Cooler Master Master Liquid ML240 V2 RGB liquid cooler all in one system. And inside the box you get two 120mm fans, the radiator, the pump, and all the mounting equipment you need to install it onto your motherboard. Installing the brackets onto the cooler was easy. They have different brackets for AMD sockets and Intel sockets, and it's just a matter of following the instructions. A lot like everything to do with this PC build. Just read the instructions. Next up, we take the cold plates off from the motherboard and install our M.2 SSDs. Initially, I only put in the crucial 500GB SSD just to set everything up, and after everything was already completed, I then installed the Samsung 1TB SSD. Next up is unboxing the case for this build. It is an NZXT H710 mid-tower case in white and black, and it is just absolutely stunning. Ignore the messy room and ignore the feet, but just have a look at this stunning case. My next step was mounting the fans and the radiator to the case itself, and I went through and did this multiple times, unscrewing it, screwing it in different spots just to make it all fit. I had the radiator more towards the front, but then with the white part of the case, which you can remove, but it ruins the aesthetic of it all, I couldn't get the AIO cooler and pump to reach the CPU, so I had to move that to the back. And then trying to move the radiator and the fans and unscrewing it all and screwing it all back in after you put the motherboard in, big hassle. So try and get it right the first time and you won't have to deal with my mistakes. Next up was sliding our motherboard into the chassis itself and mounting it with the mounting screws provided. This was so far the easiest part of this build. Once you get to this point, you got to start figuring out what connections go where in regards to fans on the motherboard, power, all this sort of thing, all the wiring, all the stressful part of this. And off camera, I applied thermal paste to the CPU and put the Cooler Master cooler on top of it and screwed it in. So that happened, and now we're just sorting out wires, which takes a lot of reading because certain parts in one manual says to connect to a certain thing, other manuals say it's got to go to a different named part. It's super confusing, But if I can figure it out, you can figure it out. Next up on our to-do list is opening up our NZXT 850 watt 80 plus gold modular power supply. Now that is a beast. It's more than enough for a 3070 Ti build. And yeah, it's modular, which means if you don't need the cords don't need to clutter up and take up excessive amounts of room. So we open up the box and then we start installing it, screwing it into the case, and then wiring all the power cables together. More wiring, more fun. The next step is probably the most exciting part of this whole build. It's unboxing and opening up the Gigabyte 3070 Ti 8GB version. And now I picked this up for $1,100 Australian dollars. The prices are slowly going down, but when I was first eyeing these off, they were up near $1,400. So it is a powerful beast of a component and I love it to death. Just look at it, it's fun to unbox, it's fun to look at, it's even more fun to use. Next we take the back plate off from the chassis and slide the RTX 3070 Ti into the PCI Express port and clip it in, all ready to go. And now we sit back, look at it, and enjoy the beauty of our build so far. Also, I want to apologize if I've been calling it a GTX 3070 instead of an RTX 3070. Common mistake. Nearing the end of this build now, it's just a matter of connecting all the power cables to where they need to go, and then cable management to the best of my ability, just to get it all up and running, to see if it posts, see if it works, see if it even turns on. That's what we're doing at this point in the video right now. Just want to say huge props to all PC techs out there that deal with cable management like this. I cannot do it. It stresses me out. It's difficult to even try. It's harder than it looks. But I did it as best as I could, and huge props to them. Alright, moment of truth. Switch on the power supply. Okay, we got something going on. Motherboard's lighting up. It's power. See if there's anything that happens. RAM's lit up. Graphics card's lit up. Fans are spinning. That is not lighting up. So the first time the PC was turned on, everything was working. Water was flowing through the AIO, all the lights and everything were turning on except the RGB on the AIO itself. And all that was the connection, the Molly connection I believe it is, just wasn't sitting in there properly for the RGB lights. So that was just a quick fix, pushed it in properly, and then everything was running smoothly. After this, it was just a matter of installing Windows onto it and then just getting it all up and running, and then we could check temps and everything. And yeah, home stretch. So after tidying up the cables a little bit and putting the chassis back together, I decided to play Rainbow Six Siege for a handful of hours, just monitoring the CPU and GPU temps, as it's the first time any load has been put on the components of the PC, and it ran surprisingly well. The GPU didn't go over 60 something degrees, CPU stayed cool, hitting about 50 degrees at most. So I think everything is doing its job right. I can't give you specific numbers because whenever I checked it was always out of the game, but nothing's being throttled, nothing's being bottlenecked just yet. Everything is running smoothly. I have Rainbow Six Siege running at 1440p on ultra settings, still hitting about 200 FPS. It's great. Cable management isn't the best. It's not professional quality. It's as best as I could get it myself, and that makes me happy. And seeing this and the results, anybody can do this. Like they say, this is like adult Lego, and I'm so happy I've done it. I'm so happy I've built my own PC and it all ran smoothly. Total build took probably maybe 4 to 5 hours over the course of 2 days, just trying to get into it when I could. So if I can do it, you can do it. And if you want to see me streaming anything from the PC, now go check out my Twitch, twitch.tv/Saturday_13. Link to that down below. It's going to be somewhere on the screen. Check it out if you haven't. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me about your experience building your own PC and let me know how it went for you. Was it as smooth as this? Was it difficult? Where were the complications at? Saturday out.